Hello and welcome to Upland Ranch. We are knee deep in eggs right now, both chicken and duck eggs. Kind of got an overabundance, so we are freeze drying them today. Freeze drying is our favorite way of preserving eggs for the winter months when the girls out there aren't being quite as productive. We don't have as many eggs coming in. So we'll freeze dry them. We'll do them just raw, crack a bunch of eggs, kind of scramble them up in there, and then add them to the freeze dryer trays. We've got 5 trays in there. They're about this size. Each one of these trays will hold between 12 and 15 regular size chicken eggs. You can't get quite as many on there with duck eggs because duck eggs are a little bit bigger. So these are come out. This is how they look after they've been in the freeze dryer for about 24 hours. Just to show you what those look like here a little bit, break them up with a spatula, see if I can get a good chunk. They come out like a very, very fragile styrofoam, almost. It's kind of the texture. So we'll get those up out of the tray here and add them to our food processor. This is just a little Ninja food processor that does pretty good work for us. We use this quite a bit. We've had it for I think about 6 years now and use it a lot. We are kind of big fans of the Ninja brand. Not that this video is sponsored at all by anybody. I'm just giving you my honest thoughts here on what we use. And with these freeze-dried eggs, if you've never had freeze-dried eggs or done them yourself, these will come out just like regular eggs. You'll be able to use these just like you would a fresh egg any time of the year. Usually like a couple of tablespoons of this dried egg powder, equal amounts of warm water. Let that set and just kind of reconstitute as it absorbs the water again. And you'll be able to cook those and use them just like you would a fresh egg. You won't even know the difference in flavor. If you didn't tell anybody, they wouldn't know that those eggs were freeze-dried. Now, sadly, you can't freeze-dry eggs as like fried eggs and then reconstitute them. Scrambled eggs is really about the only way to do that. So this is the last tray that I've got here. I've already done the other 4. Just wanted to show you the process. So we've got about a full tray. We'll go into this Ninja food processor here with the lid on. Shake that down a little bit. Just to make sure all those chunks are good and powdered up, which it looks like they are. Shake that off the blade. Then we've got here these Mylar bags that came with our Harvest Right freeze dryer. We're actually still on the first case of bags. We don't usually do much in bulk in these. Usually when we freeze dry things, we'll can them up in mason jars. These here, this is the last batch of duck eggs that we did. The duck eggs, we will freeze dry and store those in just glass pint jars. Glass pint jars. Because when it comes time to use duck eggs, usually we use them predominantly for baking purposes. And we don't use as many at a time as you do with like chicken eggs. We don't prefer duck eggs just like for eating. But if you've never used duck eggs for baking purposes, give it a shot. It'll change your life. Really will. Duck eggs have just got a wonderful presence in baking. They make everything so moist. But for the chickens, we'll do those in more bulk. We'll be able to pull these out, and when it's time to use these, if we're not going to use them all at once, which we probably won't, we can even take this and then store them in smaller pint jars as well and remove all the oxygen and air from those, and we can use them in smaller batches too if we want. These will fit about 2.5 trays each. So for 5 trays of these powdered eggs, I get 2 full Mylar bags. So we'll very carefully add that to the bag without spilling anything. This is very, very fine, these powdered eggs, so they kind of like to stick together. There we go. Just a little bit left in there. All right. Like that. Tap that down a little bit. Then, a very important step. This is not something you want to forget. I'm going to add an oxygen absorber to these bags here. Get that flattened down. Come over here and lay that out on the heat sealer. Get that as flat as possible. There you have it. Sealed eggs, ready to go, ready to add water to, and you'll have fresh eggs whenever you're ready to pull those out of the freezer. Don't forget to label. Ideally, you should label these bags before you add any content to them. That way they're laid flat and you can get them nice. I forgot to do that, so I will I'll label and date the contents very shortly here. So that's our process for freeze drying eggs. Hope you enjoyed. If you've never freeze dried eggs before, if you know anybody with a freeze dryer, they'd probably let you maybe rent a tray from them. Make friends with somebody with a freeze dryer, and you can keep in fresh eggs all winter long, just like we do. So that's it this time from all of us here at Upland Ranch. Have a great day. Have a great week. We'll see you next time.